Hey scholars! Welcome to Mathora. I'm Ms. B and you'll be learning with me. Today, we'll be dividing decimals. Our learning goals is learn how to divide decimals by whole numbers and other decimals, and also be able to explain what happens to that decimal during division. We're working with Florida Standard MA 6 NSO 2.3. That means we're dividing multi-digit numbers with decimals up to the thousandths place. Check out our progress bar below. We're already 75% done with our decimal unit. If you haven't caught up yet, go back and start with adding and subtracting decimal lesson. Then move on to multiplying decimals, and finally come back to this video, dividing decimals. You'll find the full playlist on the screen and also in the description down below. All right, let's talk about what we're doing today. We're starting with an opener to warm up our brain, then we'll connect what you already know to what you're about to learn. After that, I'll show you 3 clear examples and you'll wrap up with a quick check for understanding, 2 problems to solve on your own. Sounds good? All right, let's get started. Here's the opener. Before we divide decimals, we have to remember how to divide, period. So your opener problem is 648 divided by 12. There's a hint on the screen. It says to line up your numbers neatly. We all know that messy math causes messy answers. Go ahead and pause the video, try it out, and press play when you're ready. Before we divide, I like to rewrite my problem. So I'm writing 648 divided by 12, and I need to set my problem up correctly. So the first number is going to go in, and the second number is going to go out. In, out. The number that goes in is 648 because that is our dividend. And the number that goes out is 12. And that is what we call our divisor. Now, 12 can go into 64 5 times. 12 times 5 is 60. So we're going to do 64 minus 60, which equals 4, and pull down our 8. And now we need to see how many times 12 can go into 48, which is 4 times. 48 minus 48 is 0, and we are done dividing. All right, here's the solution. The answer is 54. Awesome job. This is your usual long division steps. Those steps are about to help us master dividing decimal. As you may notice, when I was going over the problem for the opener, I used some pretty big words. Let's break them down so we all sound like pros. The first word is dividend. The number being divided. It's the first number in the equation, the one inside the division bar, and if it were a fraction, it'd be the numerator. Dividend. Divisor. The number we divide by. It's the second number, the one on the outside of the division bar. If it were a fraction, that would be your denominator. Divisor. Quotient. The answer to a division problem. It's the number behind the equal sign or the number on top of the division bar. Quotient. And of course, our old friend, the decimal point, that little dot separating whole numbers from part of a number. Before we jump into examples, here's your 3-step process for dividing decimals. 1. Adjust the decimal in the divisor to make it a whole number by moving it to the right. 2. Move the decimal in the dividend the same number of places. And 3. Place your decimal in the quotient and divide like normal. So we are going to adjust, move, divide. That's our 3-step formula. So let's get into example 1. Here's an example of how to divide a decimal by a whole number. So here we are dividing 9.624 divided by 3. And the very first thing I need to do is make sure I put my numbers in the correct spot. So the first number is going to go in and the second number is going to go out. And I'm going to relabel these spots in my division bar to make sure, once again, that I put my numbers in the right spot. So in goes 9.624. And on the outside is our 3. Remember, the number on the outside is our divisor, and step 1 says adjust the decimal of the divisor in order to make it a whole number. But guess what? The divisor is already a whole number, so there is no need to move the decimal. Since we did not move the decimal in the divisor, do not move the decimal in the dividend. Just be sure to put the decimal in the quotient. Now we are going to divide like normal. 3 times 3 equals 9. 9 minus 9 is 0. Pull down your 6. 3 goes into 6 2 times. 6 minus 6 is 0, and pull down to 2. 3 cannot go into 2, so that is times 0. 2 minus 0 is 2. Bring down the 4. And 3 can go into 24 8 times. 24 minus 24 is 0. And here is our final answer, 3.208. See, nothing to be scared of, just careful steps. Now let's raise the rigor. Here's how to divide a decimal by another decimal. So we have 4.5 divided by 0.15. And we are starting with labeling our division bar. So we know the first number goes in and the second number goes out. In, we are going to write 4.5. That is our dividend. And outside of the division bar, we're going to put 0.15. If you notice, our divisor is a decimal. So step 1 says, adjust the decimal and move the decimal to the right until your divisor is a whole number. And whatever you do on the outside, you must do on the inside. So we have to move our decimal twice to the right-hand side in order to get the number 15, which means we have to move our decimal twice also in our dividend. Now we're going to clean up our decimal, erase the old decimal and erase the 0. And inside of this empty pocket that we have behind the 5, we're going to put a 0. Now we are going to erase the old decimal and replace it with the new decimal. So we did step 1, we did step 2. Step 3, place the decimal in your quotient. Once you have your decimal placed in the quotient, you can now divide like normal. 15 can't go into 4, but it can go into 45 3 times. 45 minus 45 is 0. Pull down the 0. 15 goes into 0 0 times. So 15 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 0 is 0. And after a decimal, and there is no number, it is always another 0. So we're going to pull down this last decimal, 0, to complete our answer. And 0 minus 0 is 0. So our final answer is 30, or you can say 30.0. That's how we keep our math clean and clear. Example 3, last example of this lesson. Be sure to pay attention because check for understanding is next. Now here's our final challenge, dividing a whole number by a decimal. We have 27 divided by 0.125. I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but this is how I get my equations correct. I make sure I'm putting the numbers in the right spot. The first number goes in and the second number goes out. The first number is 27, and that is our dividend. And the second number is going to go out, which is 0.25, and that is our divisor. Notice our divisor is a decimal, so we have to perform step 1. And step 1 says, adjust the decimal in order to make a whole number by moving the decimal to the right. And whatever we do on the outside brings us to step 2. We must also move the decimal in the dividend the same amount of places. So let's go ahead and get started. Starting with our divisor, we're going to move the decimal 3 spaces to the right in order to get the number 125. And in the dividend, after every whole number is an imaginary decimal. So we're going to go ahead and write it so we can see it, and also move the decimal to the right 3 times. As you can see, we created 3 empty pockets. So inside of these pockets, we're going to put zeros. Remember, in your dividend, step 3 says to put the decimal in the quotient, then you're going to divide like normal. This keeps our work organized. Now, let's clean up all of these lines. Our new divisor is 125, and our new dividend is 27,000.0. Let's extend the line a little bit, and let's go ahead and get started. So we need to see how many times 125 can go into 270. Now, you're probably going to need some scratch paper, and it is really important that you do this. I'm going to multiply 125 times 2 to see if I can get close to 270. My answer was 250, and I believe that's as close as we can get to 270. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply 125 times 2 and subtract 250 from 270. 270 minus 250 is 20. Now we need to pull down the next zero. If we know 125 times 2 is 250, and we only need to get to 200, well, we know that we should multiply it by 1. Because 125 times 1 is 125. So we can do 200 minus 125 by using some borrowing. And that gives us 75. However, we're going to pull down the 0 and make 750. Once again, you're going to need to pull out your scratch paper to perform some calculations on the side. We're trying to get to 750 without going over. So next, I'm going to multiply 125 times 6. And let's see what we get. We got to 500. Let's see if we can get closer to 750. 125 times 6 is the exact answer that we're looking for. So we're going to go ahead and multiply it times 6 and subtract 750. 750 minus 750 is 0. Bring down the last 0, and we all know that 125 is 0. So our final answer is 216, or you can say 216.0. And just like that, we handled thousands like a pro. All right, scholars, now it is your turn to shine. You have 2 problems to solve using our 3-step process. The first problem is 6.336 divided by 0.12. And the second problem is 2.475 divided by 0.05. Pause the video and solve both before you press play and I reveal my answers. Now it's time to compare your answers to mine. Here's my answer for problem 1. 6.336 divided by 0.12 is 52.8, and I've shown my work for you to review. Problem 2. 2.475 divided by 0.05 equals 49.5. If you need more time, pause the video and review my work carefully. If you want more practice, grab the free worksheet linked down below and check out my Mathora Shorts playlist for a quick brain boost you can watch anytime. Keep practicing. That's how progress turns into perfection. And remember, here at Mathora, we make learning clear. Bye, scholars!